So I'm going to imagine that I'm a realtor in my office, that I'm going out on a listing appointment. I'm a broker and an attorney in California. And I recognize that in this environment, this is a very treacherous process at first. I'm concerned because I know that Keller Williams just is on the hook for multi-billion-dollar judgment. National Association of Realtors on the hook for the multi-billion-dollar judgment. Other franchises have paid, I think I read, $60 to $80 million to be out of this. And that's just a small state in the Midwest. Here I am in California. And the question is, am I going to be protected by the forms? Can I conduct real estate as normal? What should I do above and beyond? Well, the attorney in me says, you better go above and beyond, because I'm not just trying to win lawsuits. I want to avoid lawsuits entirely. I want to stop them before they start. I want the plaintiff class action attorneys to realize that they've got 24 hours to remove me from this suit, or my broker or my franchise, before I countersue them for being so ill-prepared and unprepared and causing so much emotional distress that they'll be finished. That's an existential threat to their firms. That's how good I want this process to be. So quite simply, this process is going to be like this. And I know that we're going to talk about compensation to broker first, and then compensation to buyers agents second. Broker first. Are you allowed to negotiate your fees? Well, we still have the 14th Amendment. We don't have to work for free. We're not slaves. We don't have to work for $5. We have a choice. So in my brokerage, I'm going to talk to my agents working for me, and I'm going to say, as a broker, when you do the marketing and you bring in the work, it's your friends, it's your properties, it's your business, not mine, but yours initially. As a broker, I would like 0.3% of the 0.4, 0.5, 0.1, whatever I've negotiated with that realtor, and that the realtor's free, absolutely free, to charge whatever he would like on top of that. I don't want any appearance of price fixing other than my compensation. So let's say Phil's working for me. Phil can therefore then take a listing at 0.5% up to 3%, really. I don't think we need to charge more, but maybe if we were working with buyers, we'd say 4% if we were going to double side the transaction and we're doing some other things. So Phil's able to choose whatever he wants. He just knows what I'm supposed to be compensated for, and I can say I'm not going to take less unless you talk to me, and I agree. So you can explain that to the sellers, that we'll sell your home, we'll do all these things. You communicate your value. You explain the transparent process, how it should go faster, the benefits of the marketing that you're going to do, your desire to create a multiple offer situation, and how you're going to negotiate those multiple offers. And that's all for this price. Now, then you say, but notice I didn't talk to you today, right now, about compensation to buyers, agents, and buyers, brokers. And you can explain that's because right now, the market is in flux because of these lawsuits, billion-dollar lawsuits that might take out all realtor associations. So what I've chosen to do, because I'm being advised by my attorney who's also a broker, is that we're going to let you think about this for the next 24 hours and then write in how much you would like to offer to buyer's agents. And it can be zero, although technically on my forms it has to be 1% here. Let me show you. This is the funny thing right now. And I remember now because I helped my brother sell his home, and I was not going to charge him for either side, but I wanted to put it in the MLS because I wanted it to get out to all the websites all over the market. I wanted to put out open houses so people could see there were open houses. So we could have people come to his open house and sell. This is very early in COVID, so he was moving to Texas. And I didn't, there was so much demand. There was no need to compensate anybody. And because he was my brother, I did it. So that would be down here. And you can't write in 0%. This is the California Association's RLA on November 5th. And if I try to go here, I can't put in 0, right? But I can put in $1. So for now, I'll put in $1 and I'll tell my client, I'll tell my seller, I'll pay for it. Don't worry about it. It's really 0. And 0 means right now we're not going to put it in the MLS for a number tonight until you tell me tomorrow how you want to sell it. Now, if they're an emergency, I'll go, we'll work on that. This is the generalization. Now, what are they going to do next? They're going to be like, oh, I don't have to pay. And you'll say, well, you can go to my website. For me, it'd be winnerscheck.org. I'm going to have a video in there. In that video, I'm going to explain the idea the idea of the buyer's pyramid, but I'm going to explain where the buyers are in it. And that if you're offering your house for much lower than market value, you might not need a realtor at all, a listing agent or a buyer's agent, because you can sell it to a cash buyer, and maybe you'd have an attorney review the transaction for you and pay the attorney outright, or maybe you just do it without any help at all. And you can do that at any time. You can sell your house 20, 30% under market, and you'll have instant buyers. Now, somewhere else in here is a place where you're hiring a listing agent because they're going to help you with the work. You're going to feel protected. You're going to avoid feeling like you sold too low. And he's going to do the marketing. He's going to keep the transaction together. And because your time is valuable to you, because you like to be confident in the process, a listing agent may even net you more money, but they're going to help you in the process. And that's why you've signed on to a listing agent. And then I'm going to say, but the question is there somewhere in here where paying a buyer's agent is going to net you more than you're actually paying the buyer's agent? And I'm going to say, well, when I was first a real estate, I'd been a real estate attorney a long time. When I first went to Florida, I had multiple properties. I got a real estate license and a law license there. And when I went to work, I figured I should go work for the best brokerage around, which was Michael Saunders. As far as I could tell, everybody said, Michael Saunders, Michael Saunders. So I said, I better go to Michael Saunders. I went to the St. Armand Circle one. I talked to the broker. She seemed really experienced and nice. And I picked that office, although I probably should have picked one closer to my home out in Lakewood Ranch at the time, where I had multiple properties out around the area. And I was talking to her once, or not once, many times. She said, well, what does it take to sell real estate? Everything, nothing. I don't know, but everything. Her point was, I think it was, what does it take to sell a home? I don't know. Everything, nothing. Because you never know. Is it the sign in the ground? Is it the MLS? Is it the local marketing? Is it you've decided to pay buyer's agents to market your home and they talk to their client while they're on the beach in the Riviera? I mean, you just don't know. But you do know that if you're underpriced, the price is going to sell their home. But at some point, if you're trying to get above fair market value or a higher price or net, you want as many people talking to as many people who might buy it as they can so that you can net an even higher amount of money. I'm going to explain that, show that. I'm going to discuss. I actually have a book in there that's downloadable for clients. I'm going to do over time, but in as much depth as possible to get clients fully educated on when and why they may want to offer money to real estate agents, but to buyers brokers. But what really is happening here is I'm making sure that nobody could accuse my listing agents or the members of winnerscheck.org, the listing agents who have joined there, where their clients will also see these videos. Everyone's going to know that I think for now, the rule of thumb is we only discuss our listing compensation that first date. If it's 9 o'clock, it's that first date. Now, the next morning, or after there's been sufficient time for the sellers to think about it, then they can come in and they can write. I think I'm going to prefer, and I know it's not always, sometimes it's going to be filled out, but I, for now, want them to write in the compensation to the buyer's agents. I have other protections. I think a really perfect one that's going to be available, but I'm not ready. It's just not ready yet. But it's going to be at winnerscheck.org. And why am I doing this? What am I thinking about? Well, I think there's a lot of ways these forms could protect you against a loss in a buyer's agent suit, especially if you have a plaintiff's class action suit, especially if you have a somewhat sophisticated seller and you could do business by hand. And again, maybe they'll even be trustworthy and they'd never sue you anyway because you do a good job. But what I'm guarding against with this is I want every single potential class action lawyer to know that if they decided that they were going to sue every agent who's ever offered a percent to the buyer's brokers in the MLS under the theory that it's anti-competitive and this model was wrong, I want to be able to call them up on my behalf or behalf. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to represent anybody. I don't even know if I represent myself in court. But I will say this. You do realize that all we negotiated on that first day was the listing compensation, and that no seller negotiated the buyer agent commission with me because it was written down as $0 or $1 because the form sucked on that day, and that I was paying that dollar. Or my clients, every member, everyone who followed this process only paid $1. And that later, after the sellers got educated, they decided how much compensation they wanted to provide buyer's agents because they felt it was in their own interest to use it as a marketing fee to get more people to see their home. Because some agents, they know, what does it take to sell real estate? I don't know. Nothing. Everything. They knew that there was a chance that more strong buyers would be brought to their property who would pay top dollar. And there was even a chance that the buyer's agents would earn their fee and that they've got more than what the buyer's agents had to bid. They netted a higher amount than just the buyer's agent's fee. And we know that it wasn't negotiated. It wasn't price fixing because it didn't even happen the day my client took the listing. So if you don't dismiss this brokerage, this franchise, these agents, listing agents from your lawsuit, there's going to be a countersuit filed against you tomorrow, and it's an existential threat to your law firm because you have no theory of a case right now. So that's the type of protection I think I want at night so I can sleep going forward. It's not perfect. It's not rock solid. It's not airtight, but it's really good. I think I would like to be able to say, I'm going to hit you with a countersuit and you're going to be putting your firm on the line. And man, would I like to see them, would I like to recollect some of those billions of dollars off the plaintiff's class action suits on behalf of some realtors. And that's what this process is designed to do. So, in short, I may have oversold the countersuit. Okay, so there's no guarantee the countersuit will win. But if you want to sleep at night, if you're like, let me just put it this way. I didn't even want to put anything in your, if you want to do this the way I would do it for myself, and that's what I'm going to tell the members of winnerscheck.org, whatever it turns out to be, free, $7, $1,000, I have no idea at the moment, because I want to talk to lawyers in every state. I'd like to get every realtor protected. I'd like to see the theory of this from every other lawyer. So lawyers, just go to winnerscheck.org, sign up, we'll talk with you. But if you'd like to know what I'm doing so I can sleep at night and the realtors in my office can sleep at night and the processes we're following, we're going to keep you up to date at winnerscheck.org. And finally, let me just say that the realtors at Carr are pretty smart, but there's two problems. With in-house lawyers for your franchise or your broker, if he's got his own lawyer, who do they represent? Do they represent the buyers, the sellers, or they represent you and your office? And so right there, that's going to be an issue if you don't have an outside party advising them. Or something that everybody could see, like the videos I'm going to put up. I want, if ever they had to be in evidence, those videos have to be there, right? That has to be there, what everybody saw. Secondly, because I don't want to rely on writing and signatures. Lawyers don't care about forms and signatures. They're going to get around them because they're going to say there was fraud here, there was undue extortion or influence or whatever. So I'm not comfortable with just forms. And then secondly, if you really, okay, the safest thing to do is just not practice real estate. But if you're going to practice real estate, we have to have a transparent process for buyers and sellers where people no longer hate realtors. That's for the jury pool, right? I mean, and we're going to talk about that in future videos. It's not just, as I said, it's not just about the money that realtors making. It's the self-dealing that drove people nuts. We're going to have a very clear and efficient process about that. I'm going to tell you right now that you probably are wondering, well, what about double siding? And I'm going to have to figure that out because I firmly, when I was just a lawyer and was a new realtor, I was like against it. That's ridiculous. Dual agency, how can that exist? But especially during the short sale crisis, so many buyers walked. So many buyers were spraying out offers and with no thought of closing. So many agents represented those buyers that I came to the conclusion there are many times when it's best for the seller who wants to move on with their life, sell their home, buy in another state, downsize, whatever they're doing, to know that their listing agent also works with the buyer and knows what's going on with the loans and has already told both sides this is how it's going to work. First, I'm your agent, but if I work with the buyer Here's what we're going to do. Here's how you're protected. Here's how they're going to be protected. I'm going to share the stuff about the lender. All this is discussed ahead of time. To buyers, hey, we know it happened to me. I'll talk about that in other videos. Winnerscheck.org. We're going to discuss what to do about dual agency in future videos. But for now, thanks. We're going to be putting these videos out all the time. Subscribe. Ask comments. Really, that's what I'd like to hear from lawyers and realtors, what they think is needed and what they think we should be doing. And I will, I'm going to try to do a video a day going forward for a long time. Thanks. Talk to you later. Bye.